Listen, man, call me a remaster the way I'm re-inside you. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games Case. Today, and only today, we are here to talk about what I believe are my next top candidates for a Sonic Remaster. What I think is the most likely, what makes the most sense, what I think these games could improve on with a remaster, and what would make sense for SEGA. I'm not going to list every Sonic game ever, but I'm going to list the ones that I think are possible at the very least. I don't want to name things that are like insane, you know, they're not going to remaster Sonic 3D Blast, but I'd rather at least talk about the ones I think are notable and what they could do to them. Let's start with the ones everybody is probably going to mention, know right away. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, right? These are the iconic 3D Sonic games, and suspiciously, they're the ones that have not been yet ported to even last gen to this gen. They were not ported to the PS4 era of games. You know, they were not ported right now to the PS5, and they're not even readily available on Switch. Now, these games are available on PS3, and they're available on Xbox via backwards compatibility, right? But they're not necessarily available to play nowadays, which is very weird because they are so iconic and they would be free money for SEGA. Now, I know a lot of people have pointed out that Sonic Frontiers actually has like a shot of Sonic Adventure that looks sort of HD with some different textures. People aren't too clear on it though. This could be anything. Like, it could be that, you know, this is a screenshot that they used from a mod or something they edited themselves, but some people are thinking about that. And in general, again, it feels like it's time for it. You know, we're gonna get Knuckles, Tails, and Amy playable as DLC in Frontiers. We're getting, you know, Sonic Movie 3, which is based on which is gonna be based on the story of Sonic Adventure 2, and it's gonna have Shadow in it. So it just feels like it's very likely to get these games ported. Again, they could be maybe widescreen, they could add save states to them, they could add stuff like art book gallery stuff. I feel like these games don't have to be enhanced too much. I feel like they could do some stuff, you know, where it is unlimited lives to make things easier for people. Maybe fix the tracker for Knuckles in Sonic Adventure 2. I feel like they could do some tweaks, you know. Again, I feel like just giving maybe some infinite lives or stuff like that, that just a lot of people that can't go back to these games is very difficult for them. And even to this day, some of those levels can be frustrating. Add some tweaks, fix some stuff, but either way, those games are fantastic for old school Sonic fans. So bring those back, put them to modern consoles, and make that shit shine. And also, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 could also go for mega remakes. I feel like those games are prime for that, but that's a discussion for another day for what they could do with that. But I digress. Another game that's sort of part of that era is Sonic Heroes. Now, I feel like Sonic Heroes is one that is very likely and something that I'd really love to see, because first of all, Sonic Heroes has never been ported. You know, it hasn't been on any console ported. You can't play it on the Xbox Marketplace. You can't play it anywhere. You can't play it on PC, even, you know, via Steam or anything. Like, these games are this game is sort of disappeared when it's a game that is so beloved and so nostalgic for people. I mean, even though this game, you know, has some issues and maybe some levels don't age too well and, you know, all that stuff, I still think this is an important game for Sonic fans. It's one everybody, you know, I know so many people that just think Sonic Heroes is fantastic, that are casual Sonic fans just because of the theme, you know, and the idea. And I think in general, this game highlights so many of the characters from the franchise that we all love, you know, through the different story campaigns and all that. So having this game, you know, modernized, or maybe widescreen it, I get if they can't do it, but, you know, have save states, please. You know, I don't think they'd go in and tweak the levels, but at the very least, you know, have save states in there, you know, some sort of checkpoint system, life system, sort of like they have in Sonic Origins. That way people could just play unlimited lives. Again, add stuff like a gallery, museum, soundtrack stuff, all the little bells and whistles. But either way, I feel like a Sonic Heroes remaster feels likely. In fact, I would bundle it with a Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remaster. Put that in there. And a lot of people just haven't been able to play this game because there's just no modern official way to play it. I mean, you could go on some websites, you know what to do, but you know what I mean. Next up is one I talked about recently, the game Shadow the Hedgehog. I talked about this because, you know, we're gonna get Sonic Movie 3 and Shadow's about to have a big resurgence. I sadly don't think this game is likely, but I don't think it's impossible. Like I said, we're getting a lot of Shadow highlighted stuff with Sonic Prime and Sonic Movie 3, so maybe it is this time to shine. Maybe they could port this game. I just feel like we don't live in this world where they're gonna be promoting Shadow with the gun and all this stuff. So this one feels very unlikely to me, but if they did it, I would love if they made, you know, accessing the different story branches a little easier, because some of those missions to go to the light and dark path can be so frustrating. So maybe do some stuff to make it easier. Maybe add a few trackers in there to make finding things a little easier, navigation a little easier for the player, or just make the objectives a little easier. I don't know how much they could go into the good games code and fix stuff, but that would be fire, you know. So make it look nice, make it look modern, and you know what, hey, Give me All Hail Shadow. Next up, Sonic Riders 1 and 2. Please, Sega. All right, now let me explain my logic here, right? The team that's worked on the last Sonic racing game, Sumo Digital, is not there anymore. They are now owned by Tencent, so it's a whole different web of things to go back and work with them. Now, I feel like they could, but I hope that maybe they use this as some sort of incentive to go back to what made Sonic as a racing game unique, which is Sonic Riders. Come on, man. I mean, the aesthetic of Sonic Riders is incredible. I still think to this day, it felt like the most natural way to have these characters in a racing game that set it apart from Mario Kart. Because don't get me wrong, I like the Sonic racing games, but they are just fun kart racers. Whereas, like, I felt like Sonic Riders had such a spark and energy that really highlighted the Sonic cast. You know, whether it was the different boards, whether it was even having like a full campaign in there, you know, with the Babylonians and Gen, all this stuff. Like, I felt like they treated it in such a cool way, and I don't think it's fair to ruin the series because of that Kinect game, Sonic Free Rise. I don't think it's fair to shelve the series because that didn't sell well. Everybody that loves Sonic knows that Free Riders, Zero Gravity and OG Sonic Rise were awesome games. Did they age a little poorly? A little bit. You know, there is some crazy difficulty spikes in the original Sonic Riders, and some things are difficult to pull out. But like I said, a remaster could fix these things. You know, maybe make the trick system a little easier. Maybe make that concept where you have to stop at the gas stations more accessible or a little less, you know, necessary. Fix the AI a bit. That's a little ridiculous, but you could keep those games mostly intact. You know, maybe you could add some extra tracks in there, or tracks that weren't released or anything. But either way, please, Sonic Riders 1 and 2 remasters. I feel like these would be so cool to have, and I'd love to see more art because that art style is still very iconic to that series and the opening and everything. God, like, please, Sonic Riders, I just want a new one, please, man. Now, this next one is not getting a remaster, but I thought I'd just mention it. Sonic 06. Sonic 06 pretty much ruined the company's reputation and fucked up the series for a lot of ways. And as much as the concept and ideas are good with this game, I think it has done too much damage in, you know, whether it's through content online that's been made about it or everything, that it's a no-go for it ever showing up anywhere ever again. So I do not think you'll ever see Sonic 06 remastered. Sorry. Next up, Sonic Storybook series. So this should be Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight remastered. I would love to see these two get remasters. Why? Because let me tell you why, right? These games suffer from the issue of being on the Wii, right? Where the controls are frustrating, but the aesthetic and ideas of these games are incredible. You know, I love in Sonic and the Secret Rings how there's this level up system where you can upgrade these moves and make Sonic better, have more skills and all that stuff. But again, so frustrating to play because of the Wii remote. You know, I feel like if they just let you play that game with a normal controller, normal moveset, those levels in the game itself could be so much more fun. And Sonic and the Black Knight is, I genuinely think, a peak aesthetic, peak storyline style too, you know, with the beautiful art style they have in there. In general, Sonic with a sword is so fucking cool, and I've played that game on controller on PC and it feels immaculate, right? So being able to just have these two games modern, have them widescreen, have them HD, you know, I don't even think they'd have to do much besides completely retool the controls, which I know is a lot to say, but I think that's the major thing. If they took those two games, retooled the entire control set for them to fit a modern controller, and then, you know, maybe tweak some stuff with how you have to complete the missions or which ones you have to do. Either way, I think those games are fucking awesome aesthetically and idea-wise and gameplay-wise, but again, it's the Wii remote that holds those games back. So I want to see those games come back. I don't think it's impossible, but I also don't think it's likely. And of course, what kind of list would this be if I did not mention Sonic Unleashed? Now, Sonic Unleashed, a game that has, I feel like in the past years, gotten a resurgence of fan love. I think it's a game that when I grew up, I remember people were just making fun of this game, right? But now that, you know, time has passed, people have really loved and appreciated. I mean, it has some of the best animations in this series. It has a really heartfelt story. The daytime stages, I think to this day, are some of the best in the series because they have a great balance of, you know, length, challenge, you know, how to get the S ranks, multiple paths, and they're just so aesthetically pleasing and fun. And the Werehog, again, Werehog is fun, but I think there's a lot they could do to tweak it. Right now, what they gotta fix, first of all, obviously the Werehog song. We all know the Werehog song drives people insane. Make it updated one, a better loop, different versions of it. I mean, it's Sonic, it's Sega team. They know how to do music, so I have no doubt that that would be the first thing they would change. Second of all, you know, make it unlock the combos easier, you know, add extra lives too, so people don't have to get game overs and restart those levels, because they can be very long and frustrating, right? Make the medal system in the game, you know, either very non-existent or much more lenient, not much less lenient, because, you know, you have to get a certain amount of medals to progress through the game, and sometimes trying to find them in the level can be very annoying. So I feel like they either should lessen the amount you need to progress through the game, or, right, make a tracker sort of option, you know, maybe add like an easy mode for people that want that, where it'll just guide them to the exact spots of the medals so they know where to go. You know, at least give people the option to make things easier. You know, the OG fans want to keep it that way. But either way, I don't even think they have to do much besides. I mean, the game is remastered on Xbox. It looks beautiful there. It plays incredibly there, 60 FPS and everything. So have that, you know, show up on Switch somehow. Have it on PS5. Have it natively released on Xbox. Have it on PC, and you have yourself a happy audience. Next up, Sonic Generations. Dude, this is one of the most popular and most replayed Sonic games to this day. I mean, this game is still getting mods to this day on PC and getting so much love from the fans constantly, right? So how is this game not available on PlayStation and Switch? Again, this game is available on Xbox, but come on, bro. Give us a next-gen version of Sonic Generations for the fans to play. Again, it's not one that I think is super necessary, but I think it's one that, like, is free money for them. And I think also what would be really, really cool, and I don't think they do this, but it would be fire, is if, you know, they added some extra zones in there. Like, you know, maybe have a level from Lost World in there. Maybe you have an extra level or two from Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2. You know, maybe fucking go crazy, make a Forces level in there, put a Frontiers area in there. Like, it'd be cool if they sort of expanded on, you know, the game, or even, you know, maybe hired some of the people that have made incredible mods for the game to add a level or two. I would love if they went the extra mile for it. But either way, this I feel like is the easiest remaster for them to go with, because like I said, this game has already been modded to shit. It's already available on PC. It's in HD and everything. So just have that out there. Put it for the other consoles, and just please Sega. Sonic Lost World, I mean, this one could get a remaster. I mean, it's not out of the, you know, realm of possibility. It is only available on Wii U and PC, so people on Xbox and PlayStation and Switch haven't really gotten a chance to play it. So not one that I really care for. I mean, it's a fine game. It exists. You know, I wouldn't mind it getting remastered so more people could try it out, but I don't think it's what they necessarily have to remaster. Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, baby. Yes, sir. No, they're not remastering these, but I enjoy them for what they are, but they're not going to remaster them. And then the last two I sort of want to mention that I feel like could get remasters are the Sonic Advance games. Now, I want to make a whole video about the Sonic Advance games and how they're awesome and stuff, and I'll get to that. But I feel like these games in general, we're seeing a lot of GBA collections. You know, we've had the Mega Man Zero collection. We're getting Battle Network collection. We got Castlevania GBA collections. I feel like that era of games is starting to get the remaster. So I feel like it makes sense to have Sonic Advance, you know, join the fray on that one. And not only that, like, we are starting to see some DS era games. Now, obviously with the DS, it's difficult because of the dual screen stuff, but I would love if they found a way to port Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure, and even maybe Colors DS in there, because they are such quality 2D Sonic games. They're very fun. I know they use the dual screen, so they either have to remake the games from the ground up, you know, to have the whole level show up in there, or they just have to do it sort of, you know, screen style where you have borders and you're just looking at it from top to bottom. It would be maybe a little weird to handle, but either way, I feel like the handheld lineage of Sonic deserves a bit more love, because it's a little difficult, you know, for us to access those games again, aside if you use PC, because they're really not available anywhere else. But yeah, those are the ones I feel like are most possible to get remasters. Which one do you think is most likely, and which one do you want to see the most? Let me know down in the comments below. If you could only pick 3 of these to get remastered that I mentioned today, which would you pick? For me, honestly, it would have to be the storybook games. I want to see those HD remastered fixed. I would love Sonic Riders incredibly the most, and then I would honestly pick the Sonic Advance trilogy in HD. Actually, you know what? Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. Those are the 3 I'm picking. So guys, let me know what you want, and of course, I'll see you on next video. Peace out. I love you. Whoa.